Hey and welcome back to my corner. Now today, I'm finally covering the final episode of Season 1. Also changes since last time. I changed that sign. It's much better now. And also, I don't have to, jerry-rig some sort of way to keep batteries in. And last time I said I didn't have one of these. And if you're on YouTube, you're seeing this on the 4th of July. Which I'm surprised I don't have an American flag here. After all this time, how did I never have one? You mean to tell me I have Rosetta Stone Spanish before an American? What? I was back east and I picked one of these up at some sort of 4th of July parade. I forget where exactly. By that I mean at which booth. It was in Andover. So that's fun. Now, what exactly is 400 Days? Does it have anything to do with the rest of the series? Yes, but nothing to do with the rest of Season 1. Or almost nothing to do with it. I mean, other characters in episodes 1 through 5 are minorly mentioned, and the dead body of the person Lily murdered is shown in Russell's chapter. But to clarify on this, Lee, Clem, etc. are not actually in this episode. This episode is specifically backstory for characters in Season 2, and depending on your choices in this episode, some of the characters in the episode can be in Season 2, and some cannot be. Well, now that explanation's done, let's get right to it. Starting with a comparison between how the world was and how it is now 400 days into the outbreak, hence the name. You start looking at a billboard with 5 different people's pictures on it. From whose perspective? I don't know. You know what? Let's spin a wheel. We'll look at Vince first. Let me just play the first scene of this real quick.
Damn it. I told you. I already told you it wasn't me, man. Man, come on. I told you like 20 times. I don't even know your brother.
This man is certainly a man of character. You know, I heard the White House was hiring. This man would probably have a great FBI career. While Vince flees the scene, he passes by a very well-known landmark known as drugs. He throws his gun away, and then we cut to him being in a prison bus. This prison bus just so happens to be in some very severe traffic. We're introduced to Daniel, who, had sex with a 15-year-old girl. Well, that might be legal in France, but, we're not France, so die, motherfucker. Next, we're introduced to Justin, who wrecked many more lives through white-collar crime, making off with about 100 million. And now it's Vince's turn to talk about how he ended up here. Then a fight breaks out on the prison bus, and how the police react is just completely incompetent. Literally the worst I've ever seen. Not everyone might know this, but for the people that went to CMHS like I did, you might remember how the police handled the whole thing with Mr. Neese. Which, by the way, I was a first-hand witness to the police telling us information that honestly I think violated his civil rights. I'm not really sure. They only made everything worse, and honestly I'm surprised how they weren't sued for how they handled themselves. They were horrible. They are somehow more competent than these fucking lunatics. I could get into more about that, but that really has nothing to do with this video. So, I mean, let me know if you want to see it. But that's a really low bar. All you had to do was do your job properly, and they couldn't even cross that. I mean, neither could the CMPD, but, you know. I mean, what would a normal person do? Maybe they'd try to knock out the attacker or something? I don't know. Maybe that's something logical. But this fucking dolt just sits there and watches him do it as he's saying, "Don't do it, I'm warning you," and then he blows his head off with his shotgun. And then this cop has to be told by the criminal that this guy that was being choked still has the handcuffs around his neck and they need to be unlocked. And you know how people complain about police brutality? Here's some actual police brutality right here. Justin, Danny, and Vince witness walkers for the first time ever, and that prisoner that was being choked comes back as a walker and kills the incompetent cop. So we grab the cop's shotgun and put down the dead prisoner. Now we have to get out of the prison bus, and the only way to do that is to shoot the chain off, which is attached to someone's ankle. Meaning, I'm basically either gonna shoot off Danny's foot or Justin's foot. So I shot off Justin's foot. Why? Not because Danny didn't do something wrong. He did. But Danny actually has remorse for what he's done, unlike Justin, who self-admittedly doesn't.
You wanna know the funny thing? I don't regret any of it. I carried my victims for years. They knew what they were getting into. And now here I am, and there they are, And Wall Street assholes pulling the same scores are smiling on TV.
And then also he ruined many more lives. So Danny and Vince get out of the prison bus, leaving Justin behind. Time to do another magic wheel spin. Next up is Wyatt, who from his picture looks like he hasn't left his basement in 5 years. I mean, I can't really talk since I haven't shaved in a month. From the perspective of the old prison bus from day 2, we see a car speed by. In it is Wyatt himself and Eddie, and they're getting chased by a truck. After a small shootout that knocks out one of the headlights on the truck, and make whoever's driving it turn off the road, we turn off the road too to try and lose him in the fog. On this drive we hit someone. The problem is, we don't know if it was a walker or not, and for whatever reason, someone has to go check if it was or not. Now, I know that it was not only because of the footage I got and the choices I made, but also the magical power of editing. See, here's a keyframe. But they don't know that, so someone has to go out there, meaning, what's the best way to choose? Rock, paper, scissors. After Wade loses, he goes to investigate the body. And it turns out, just like I said, to be a person, so he starts dragging it back. But the guy in the truck shows up and scares Eddie off. Well, alright, who's next? It's shell time! Inside the old diner that we saw near the beginning, there's a small little concert going on. That's nice. Shell and Stephanie are having a conversation about how this new world is affecting kids as they grow up, specifically Becca. We all talk about having another one of those concerts, and then we all go off to do our own jobs. Our job is feeding the walkers, and Shell sees something sad that I'm gonna blur because I don't want to be sad by it too, because I'm gonna have to watch this 1,000 times. Once I came in from my job, Becca scared me and I told her to not do it because I saw something sad. And then Stephanie gets our attention and tells us that there's someone outside. Turns out the rest of the group caught a man that was trying to steal supplies. He doesn't speak English, so there's no way of communicating to him. The group recounts the last time they let in a stranger, and then everything went to shit. And that last time they lost Bree because of fucking Ben, and Vernon because he's an asshole.
I still can't believe we let that guy threaten us like that. If that guy Lee had told me I didn't have the balls, I'd have shot him on the spot.
I officially hate you now, and I hope you die a horrible death. The ultimate decision is whether we set him free, which brings a chance that he might have a gang that might harm us more, or that we kill him, so that even if he has a gang, no one knows about his whereabouts. The vote's tied, so we're the swing vote, and I value our lives more than I value his, so I say kill him.
3 weeks later.
Shell and Becca are reminiscing about that time 3 weeks ago, and Roman has something important to tell Shell. Stephanie was stealing supplies and tried to break out. And now we're in that same position that we were with that other guy. We can't keep her here, but we also can't let her go. So Roman wants me to do it. Digging through the drawer here, I pull out both the gun and the keys to this RV. So do I drive away and abandon everyone, or do I kill Stephanie? Well, I mean, considering that we're not just killing Stephanie because it's stupid reason, I go with the gun. Now, just ignore that I'm remodeling that currently because I actually got some custom clones, which is nice. Oh, I dropped a coin, including this one that I really like. But that's besides the point. The reason I actually have this coin out is because there are only 2 people left, Russell and Bonnie. So instead of doing a stupid magical wheel spin, whee! I thought I could flip a coin. Heads is Russell, tails is Bonnie. And I just lost that coin. Heads. So we're talking about Russell now. It's a nice sunset and Russell's walking down the street in a very familiar area. As I'm walking down the road, the same truck that was in the Wyatt chapter pulls up, and I go to duck. Oh, this is why this area is familiar, because this is where Carly got murdered. The guy in the truck stops to talk to me, and he asks me for my name. I answer honestly, and he's asking if I'm in a gang. Russell answers honestly, and the stranger's very pleased. The stranger offers me a ride, so guess what? I'm taking a free ride. It's better than walking at night.
Name's Nate, by the way. Thanks for asking.
That's me! Although I never thought a prohibitionist like myself would come down to drinking and driving. And I was 6 at the time this was made. Is this a prediction of me in my 30s? I hope not. At least I can make Russell still a prohibitionist. I asked Russell about his past, and he goes ahead and tells me. Turns out in some universe, I'm some pervert. And I asked Russell about the girl he mentioned, and what he would rate her on a scale 1 to 10. I even stop and put Russell's life in danger just so that I can get the information out of him, and he says she was a 10. I feel really weird about this. Also, sorry, babe, for, shit I did in a parallel universe. So we drive away from the walker. Great. Now we drive up to the same gas station that was in the Shell chapter. I swear, I think every single chapter except the Bonnie chapter revolves around here. The prison bus was here, White drove past here, Shell lived here, and now we're here. We pull into the gas station and all of a sudden we're getting shot at. While covering each other, we eventually make it into the diner. And it's 2 probably crazy old people, I don't know. One looks injured, possibly bitten, I don't know. And they tell us to get out of here. Because they were just trying to kill us, I kill them. And we take their supplies. And Russell's my boy, so therefore he comes with me. Time for, last but not least, Bonnie. It's raining this evening, and Bonnie and Leland are having a conversation. Leland's wife Dee shows up and interrupts the conversation. She's come back with a bag, so that's nice. And obviously there's some sort of tension between Dee and Bonnie, because Dee thinks Bonnie is some sort of girlfriend of Leland, even though Leland and Dee are married. So the group enters into conversation. Eventually, Dee and Leland end up in an argument that attracts God knows how many people. Probably the people she stole from. So we all go running. Bonnie gets shot in the arm and continues to run anyway, tumbling down a massive hill. Honestly, I'm surprised she didn't get injured from that. We all navigate through a corn maze individually. Once I make it to this little clearing with a tractor, I notice that someone with a flashlight is coming to get me. I grab this piece of rhubarb and smack whoever the hell it is in the face. Turns out the person is Dee. Bonnie starts profusely apologizing, and Dee claims you murdered her. Well, in fairness, if you don't kill Dee, she will kill you. And also, Bonnie couldn't have known if it was Dee or not. After she dies, Leland finds us. Bonnie lies to him, telling him she found her like this, and the reason I lied is because it just happened now. And on top of that, if I told him the truth, he might not want to leave necessarily, and it might get him killed. Leland mourns real quick, and then we get out of here with the bag. We finally see who's been looking at these posts. Tavia is talking to an associate over the walkie-talkie about the survivors, and they're from an organization trying to build a good community, allegedly, and Tavia follows the map to find where the survivors are. Once she gets to the campsite, she offers everyone to come with her and be a part of this new society. On a voluntary basis, no one's being forced to go. And out of all these survivors, the only one to accept was Bonnie. Fun fact, it's possible for everyone to be convinced by Tavia. I think Bonnie goes with Tavia either way, but to get Vince to go with you, you have to shoot Danny's foot off, not Justin's. For Wyatt to go, you have to stay in the car. For Shell, you have to drive away. And for Russell, you have to leave me. Now that's the end of season 1, roll credits. So this is something I've wanted to do for quite a while, and new camera's perspective, hi. I've wanted to do like a closure thing for a long time now. Ooh, what is this? Metroidvania. Alright. Where I actually give my thoughts about the game rather than just summarizing it. And I've wanted to do it for Combat Evolved 2, Strange World, which was a god-awful movie. And I've also wanted to do this with Halo 3, but I didn't really have the time to do it because right when I finished up to the point where I was now, it was like, specifically with Halo 3, it was a little late because once I finished it, it was like 2 hours past the normal upload time. But now that I have that time, I'm gonna be doing this. So there are actually 2 different versions of this game, at least on Xbox. There's the 360 version, which you can get episode 1 for free, and then you have to pay $5 for each following episode, or you can play the Xbox One version, which is available in Game Pass, but otherwise I think you'd have to pay $15, which is a little cheaper than the 360 version, but the 360 version has an extra, 600 gamer score if you play both versions. But the 360 version doesn't have any glitches with achievements triggering compared to the Xbox One. And I actually took down a list, I took down a list of all the achievements that didn't trigger or didn't trigger right away in season 1, and these were episodes 1 chapter 5, episode 2 Chapter 3 and then the episode complete achievement. It was, and then episode 3 Chapter 1 and episode 5 Chapter 5 and 7. So that was annoying, and I couldn't even just go on another profile on the Xbox One version when I first played it to get the achievement. I actually had to replay the chapter in the same profile. I don't know why, but that was the case. I think it's incredibly obvious in terms of who the worst character in the entire game is. It's obvious that it's Ben, because fucking Ben. I've always hated like the stupid people, and it's not that stupid people are evil necessarily. They're not. But they just, it's just, they personally annoy me. Especially the kind that almost seem maliciously stupid. Now, of course, if it was like a little kid or something, I'd be willing to extend more leniency on that because, you know, that they're a kid, they don't know any better. But this is like a college kid. This is an adult. What the hell's wrong with him? Not only did he get Carly killed, but, I mean, I already went over this in one of the videos I did. But he got Carly killed, he caused, well, Carly/Doug, depending on who you save in episode 1. He causes Lily to be excommunicated. Ooh, I get to unlock Rosalina, that's nice. He also nearly causes Clem to die at the beginning of episode 4. He causes Chuck to die. He causes Bree to die. And, oh my god. A character like that, how does anyone say, oh, you're being too hard on Ben? Because there are people that actually do that, and I'm shocked. That's enough on characters I completely despise. Time to talk about characters that I actually like. Lee was probably a great father figure to Clem. He wasn't a complete idiot, and he was actually willing to make sacrifices for people he cared about. Kenny, absolute goat. He's great, and honestly, I think that personality-wise, that would just be me in that kind of situation. And with Clem, there are a lot of people that disingenuously, and they may actually believe this, but they compare Clem to Ben for whatever reason, in that Clem made the mistake just like Ben did at going with the, I forget his name, but it was at the end of episode 5, where the guy promises, I know where your parents are, and I'll take you to your parents. And that causes Lee to get bit, and he dies. People compare that, but it really doesn't fit, because, one, Clem is, okay, 9. I wouldn't exactly expect Clem to necessarily not fall for, like, people being disingenuous as a 9-year-old. Whereas I would expect a college kid to not be such an idiot. And then also, let's just take a note, it's not even Clem's fault that Lee died. It was the kidnapper's fault, because he took her away. All in all, it's a great game. I highly recommend you play it. And that's all I have to say. Let's go back to non-gameplay, me, I guess. I don't know. Real quick before I go, I just wanted to mention in this frame in the Vince chapter, that's actually Becca and Shelly there. I just noticed near the end of editing. Also, who's being eaten there? That looks like Koch's model. So now I can finally say, thank you so much for watching. I hope you liked that video. If you did, go ahead and subscribe and hit the bell. And also, if you're watching on Rumble, follow and check out some of my videos, other videos too. That goes to show you I never use a script. But yeah, I hope you like what you saw. Also, go follow me on my other socials, and I'll catch you in the next one. See ya.